compete in the E-League Cup Rocket League, coming this December.
Okay, Furballs.
This is Rocket League, where soccer and supersonic cars collide. And it's coming to E-League. The greatest teams in the world have been invited to Atlanta to compete in the E-League Cup Rocket League, coming this December. E-League. The greatest teams in the world have been invited to Atlanta to compete in the E-League Cup Rocket League, coming this December.
Good morning, everyone.
The greatest teams in the world have been invited to Atlanta.
Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. I hope that didn't get in the audio, but if it did... Anyways, good morning. Morning Monster update. The coloring book is done, and I have finished the PDF, finished the updates, and have mailed it off to... or emailed it off to the printer for to get my proof. So, yay! I am so freaking happy. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to color, or I've been coloring, some of them for myself. And for Christmas, I am doing a color version of Professor Bubbles. My husband, Bill, when he saw the finished piece, was like, I want that. Are you going to color that? 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 Maybe. Are you going to color that? Are you going to color that? So he's getting a color version just for him for Christmas. Now, I've already started the color work, but I've taken everything back to 0 so that you can at least see some of the work that I've done. And this piece, Professor Bubbles, appears in Morning Monster, so you'll be able to, if you get the coloring book, be able to color your own. And so this is Professor Bubbles, a kind of steampunky, anthropomorphized bear with a blowing bubbles with his bubble pipe. And so let's see. We'll start with the background. So this is my background. And then I'm trying to make it seem like it's kind of one of those old westerny photos that you might get at some fair kind of thing. Now here's the flat work. So if you don't know what flats are, that's basically a term from comic books, among other things, where you're putting in your background color for everything, and there's no shading, no tinting, no highlights. It's just the beginning color. And from there you build up. And as you can see on the line work, the bubbles I've already colorized the bubbles outline, so there's that. And I didn't want to change it back because I'm really happy with how that's turning out. So, and then for the bubbles, I did the flats separately. And they're down at 39% opacity, but that's what they look like if they were at full. But I want them to be transparent. Let's take them back down to 39. So that, like most bubbles, they're mostly transparent, but I want to give a sense of there's something there. Now, after that, oh, here's my color palette, so I will put that back up there. But that will not be in the final piece. So I started working on, after that, I started working on the depth work. and I was playing around with textures for leather textures, and I'm not entirely happy with that, but it gives me a sense of where I want to go. And from there, I'm just going to leave it for now while I let it percolate in the back of my head, and I'm going to work on other areas. So with that, let's jump in. What time is it? It's 8:12. Okay. And bippity boppity boop. What do I want to work on first? And now that I say that, I can't figure out what I want to work on. So we'll just dive right in, start with the eyes. And poop. I want to deselect. Oh. Now one thing I do, unselect everything again, jumping ahead, is I like to keep my flats, an untouched version of the flats at the bottom, as a bottom layer of the color set, so that I can go back and I have an untouched zone where if I need to reselect something that's already been worked on, but I need that whole area again, I can select it easily. So duplicate this, and layer 17 will stay locked, and we will use layer 17 copy. And sometimes I separate it out anyways with each section, but I oscillate between that and just doing what I'm going to do now, which is just not worry about it and do it all on that copy layer. All right, and hide those. Select my color. It's set to multiply. Do 19%. What am I at hardness wise? And yeah, I want a little more dramatic. Okay, that's not what's going on here. I don't have anything selected, do I? Take a slightly darker. Okay, there it is. It's just being. That's normal. Multiply, no wonder. There we go. Still too early in the morning. Not had my coffee. In fact, sorry. First sip. Now, if you get Morning Monsters, or if you've watched any of my previous streams for Morning Monsters, you'll know there's a couple of coffee-themed ones. I'm a coffee drinker, and sometimes I feel like a zombie in the morning. So, in fact, I did a zombie piece. Where'd you go? I did the zombie piece. Gosh, I'm just not seeing things today. There you are. I did this piece at Rose City Comic Con. It was, I want to say, the second day, and I already felt like a zombie because I had to get up early on a Saturday morning, and Bill's like, "Do you want coffee?" And I'm like, "Oh, yes, I want coffee." And then I was like, "Oh, zombie coffee." And so that came about. And then before that one, before the coloring book was completely set in my mind that I was going to do it, I did this piece at work one day. It was like the third or fourth Morning Monster I did. And then for the coloring book, I redrew him and added in the coffee first, because sometimes there are days where you just don't want to deal with anyone or anything until you've had your coffee first. So, at any rate, back to Professor Bubbles. Bubbles, bubbles, bubbles. Now, the coloring book is only, the one that is going out is just the first one. There were plenty of ideas for a second book, and maybe a third, or as many as need be until I am tired with Morning Monsters, I suppose, because I really enjoyed it. But it's going to be one of those things where, oh no, it's going to work in with my other projects, because I have my pet comic book project, graphic novel project. I put aside to do some other things, the Protector Corps, and I really want to get that off my plate. Oh, not dark. Now, see, one of these problems I have is I go to hit multiply, but for some reason, between me trying to hit multiply and going back over here to hit this eye, it has picked darken, and I don't see it in time, and it is frustrating. At any rate, yeah, I've got Protector Corps I want to finish, and originally that was going to be a 5 to 6 issue mini-series. And I decided, after doing work on Deathbringer Prophecy, that I really just wanted to do a graphic novel and do one big publication. So my first 2 issues that are out are basically, I'm looking at more as an introduction, prologue to the story. And they'll be included in the graphic novel, but I'm going to make some tweaks, because it's been a few years since I've worked on them, and my style's gotten, and my work has gotten a little better, I think, since then. And there's a few corrections and fixes, and quite frankly, redesigns of some characters that I want to do. But it's been percolating in the back of my head, and I really want to get it off my plate, because there's just projects that I want to do, and I've got another coloring book idea. I was from last year's Inktober, and that was Space Bear and Cosmic Squirrel, and I have still got that sitting. So it's like I have got constant ideas for things. They just seem to take forever to execute, for a number of reasons. Not for lack of trying, and not for lack of wanting. Just seems like there's not enough hours in the day to get everything done. And then you gotta do the day job. Because, trust me, if I could do this as my one and only job and get paid and still have my benefits and pay for my house and put food on the table, I would. I can tell you, there are days where I'm at this drawing board for 12, 14, 16 hours, and everything else just goes away. And sometimes Bill has to remind me to eat. Alright, what am I doing here? Oh, I'm deselecting that. That's what I'm doing. Okay. So, let's do the nose next. Boom. Back to multiply. soften that puppy up. Turn that down just a little bit. I like a little bit more control over. Let's pull that out here. Oh yeah, all right. And I recently learned that you can hide the selection and still keep it selected. As I'm a self-taught Photoshop person, I mean, I've been using Photoshop for well over a decade. And I'm still using CS4. I bought myself the suite, the Creative Suite, when I took a comic book drawing illustration class from the Art University in San Francisco. Some dear friends of mine, Mark and Steve, for Christmas one year, and this was when I was unemployed, because I was a furniture finisher, and when the economy tanked, I didn't lose my job right away. The business didn't go right away, but I saw the writing on the wall, and I wasn't surprised when the owner of the business came and said he was shuttering the doors. And this is like 5-6 months after Bill and I finally moved in together, and we ended up moving, or I ended up moving from San Francisco to San Jose. And yeah, I was unemployed for like a year and a half, and that's when I started finally pursuing my comic book dreams. And I came up with the Protector Corps, and I also started working on Intersections, which became Deathbringer. And so I got that in that time period for the color work and for putting the books together. I was still drawing with traditional stuff. And I still do that. It's just faster, and I'm starting to get a lot better with actually drawing in Photoshop and now Manga Studio. Alright, so I think that nose looks good. Not quite sure how I'm going to do the facial fur, but let's see. I want it to look fuzzy. And let's see, this is my grass, right? I've got a ton of different... Alright, yeah, that's grass. Hair, fine hair. See, I don't use these quite that often, so I'm not sure. So we're learning together here. Let's try that real quick and see, because I don't have to live with it. Alright, let's hold off on that one for... Oh, I didn't even change it. What the frack? Did that... Or is it a... Oh, I see. I guess it is. Alright, what about that one? What does that look like? Ah, I see. My blender. Now my blender brush is a little something different, and I truly treasure this one brush tip. If I had to give up everything else brush tip wise and just stick with the normal stuff, and I was only given one extra funky brush, it would be this one. And it's you can see it's this really weird cobblestoney type thing, but when you get it down to a certain level, and you start blending, it can look like, with the right strength and so on, it can look like watercolor to a certain degree. I mean, there's only so much you can do, at least in CS4. I haven't tried any of the other CSs. And once I discovered it and tried it out for a while, I really just fell in love with the brush. And I panic every time there's a problem, because at one point I had some major computer problems and lost a lot of stuff, and thankfully I had saved my brush packet, because I don't remember where I got this from. I got it off the web somewhere from one of the matte painting websites, but I don't remember which, and I don't remember what packet it was under. But I was like, oh, but once I found it, I've put it in a special place so that should something happen again, I will still have it. Maybe I might eventually put the brushes that I use the most on my website, so that if you're interested, you can download them. But I don't have that yet. I'm really bad at updating my website. I've gotten better, but I'm still much more focused on the drawing and getting the work done and promoting myself, or getting it out there, which is my fault. That's also part of the what do I want to say, part of being an artist. I wonder, can I want to try something out here real quick. I want to modify the brush. Where did the brushes go? Oh, they're there. It's on my other monitor. Sorry. I have two monitors going. And alright, so I do have shape dynamics going on. Alright. And minimum diameter. Let's bring that down. And angle jitter. No. Alright, keep that. Do I want to round it? Ooh. Let's try that. I don't know that it will stay. Okay, much better. Let's turn that up a little bit. What am I at? I'm at, I don't need you right now. I'm at 40. Let's bring that back down. he likes this. So I'm gonna, if I've got the time, I'm gonna have it printed out on a canvas print. But I seem to remember when he was talking to me about it, one of the times he wanted to take it to work, and he doesn't have a lot of space at his desk. So, but I'm afraid if I ask him again, he's going to know, yes, you're definitely getting this for Christmas, and I've already kind of spoiled a couple of presents, because we're not really getting too much for each other this year. We decided that we wanted to do a bunch of charity work instead of gifts, as far as, you know, donations. What with all the craziness in the world and what happened in Puerto Rico and the hurricanes and people in need, and for once we've got everything that we need, and for the most part we're pretty happy with what we got. We don't need more things, so we decided that we were gonna spend our money on helping other people. I mean, we do charity donations all the time, and at Christmas, you know, those charities go up, and we do a little bit more. Usually it's toy drives and food banks, that kind of thing. But this year we wanted to, I'm sorry, because it was both our ideas. We both wanted to up that, so we're not going to be splurging too much on each other. And the things that I'm doing for him that he doesn't know about are all handmade, or you know, stuff like this. I'm doing this, and what else? I'm gonna make him a necklace, and I'm thinking about getting us some bracelets, wedding bracelets, because my finger gets really puffy when I wear my wedding ring. So does he. So we got these rubber bracelets to wear that have our names and when we got married, for when we're feeling puffy. And I wanted to get something a little more fashionable. Plus I also need to get a bracelet, because I'm a medical bracelet, because I am allergic to penicillin, and I've been needing to do that for a few years. Knock on wood, thankfully I haven't had to worry about it too much. But at any rate, what time is it? Okay, I'm still good. I got a little bit more time. They took away my overtime, so I can do this a little bit longer in the morning when I can. Trying to work out a regular schedule so that I can, you know, put that on the page, and that way people will know when to come watch. But it's been difficult doing that because, like I said, I work during the day, and I can only do this in the mornings when I'm working from home. And that's usually when it's raining out, or there's some kind of weather issue. And then, you know, when in the evenings or on the weekends, you know, Bill's here, we share an office, and I don't want to disturb him and when he's doing his stuff, because he's playing his video games, and right now he's playing his Second Life, and so just trying to find that balance. It's getting there. He's getting used to doing this. I'm getting used to doing it. I'm really liking this streaming. Even if right now I'm just mostly talking to myself. But I have had I've got 6 followers. Oh, okay, cool. It's gone up. I did not know that. Thank you, everyone who's following me. I hope you're enjoying this. It's funny, at my very last ape, I actually got to be on a panel for gay cartoonists. And Justin Hall was the moderator. It's one of his panels. And if you are in comic books or indie comics, gay comics, follow gay comic book artists and creators, then I'm sure you've heard of him. Or if you haven't, look him up. He's an incredibly nice guy. And at the time, this was still in San Francisco. I hadn't moved yet. Or had I? 2000? Yeah, I had moved. At any rate, I had, afterwards, I had went up to ask him about their bachelor master's program, because he teaches and in comic books, and I was like, hey, do you have to have had your bachelor's or an AA to take the course, or can you take it? And they're like, no. But in the course of the conversation, he first asked us, like, oh, you want to teach at the school? And I had not ever thought about that. Up until that point, I never thought of myself as a teacher, because my patience can be very thin sometimes. But I also like making, videos of art and talking comic books, and so I guess in a way this is my not just sharing my work, but hopefully imparting a little bit of knowledge along the way. So if you ever have questions or need resources or point me in the right direction type thing, please ask. Send me an email, gene@guilmette.com or gene@rltpress.com. Preferably RLT Press, because then I'll know that it's more in line with, this stuff here. Tweet at me, or come find me on Facebook, and I will try to answer your questions. Alright, let's okay. I'm not entirely happy with this brush, but I'm going to keep going for a little bit on it, because just because I'm not jonesing on it doesn't mean it isn't good, because I don't normally use this brush, so I'm gonna put a little effort in it here and see where it goes. But I need to back up. As you can see, I've done that. instead of being up close to it. I really do like this picture. It's one of my favorites from the coloring book. I don't remember how I came up with the idea, just Bill and I like, among other things, steampunky stuff, and I guess I just saw some steampunky stuff and wanted to do a bear, and that was that, I guess. I want it to... What's the strength? Okay, 9%. All right. Let's come back here. Back out a little bit more. I need to see more done before I make a verdict, but I can always go back and do more. That's, sometimes your first choice isn't the right choice, but you got to work through it and make sure to get out of your comfort zone, and that's kind of what I'm doing here right now. Let's see, light's coming from this direction. Multiply. Yes, yes, maybe. Yes, yes, maybe. It's a definite maybe. I know I have other fur and hair brushes. I wonder why this one's in this palette. I don't remember. Again, I don't use this particular brush apparently that often, but my current palette of brushes has changed for some reason, and I bet you this was just part of something else I was looking for, and it was in that particular grouping. I'm having a hard time organizing my brushes, and partly because I just got to take the time to do it, and I would rather be drawing than taking the time to do it. And the other part is I'm still teaching myself after all this time how to do certain things because I'm learning something new about the program. Seems like every so often now. It used to be every day, but now it's just every so often, because usually because it's something I haven't done before or needed to do, or I saw it on somebody else's art video, because I do watch other people's videos. Jake Parker, Will Terry, Marco Bucci, just top 3 off my head, but I've got others. Oh gosh, who's the matte painter? Because at one point I wanted to be a matte painter, and I still do them occasionally, but not for a while, not since I really plunked down and concentrated on doing the comic books. But I'm seeing that it's getting on closer to 9 o'clock, and I need to wrap it up for right now. I will be back. I can only do this particular one when Bill's not here. But I will try to stream the color work, the rest of it, so that there's a good little series at least on color work. And that'll get me doing it every morning when I am, when he's not here. So, okay, well, until next time, thank you so much for watching. And if you're seeing this after the live stream, please leave comments for any questions. Excuse me. And I will try to get back to you as soon as I can, or you can email me, like I said, gene@rltpress.com, or you can, or I should say, you can also check out the different buttons, links on my page, our channel page, to Facebook, Twitter, The Line It Is Drawn. I've talked about that in several of my other streams. Please check that out. We're still doing as of this video, we're still doing tryouts, looking for at least 5 new artists to join the line. So if you're an artist and are interested, and it's still beginning of December, end of November, beginning of December 2017, then click on that link there and go check it out. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I will be back soon. Till then, have a great day. And now we shut it down.